Today's session will be completely focused on Winter 23 release notes. We are not going to cover the entire release notes given the release notes is very lengthy, but we'll be covering some important things which I felt very much important as with when compared to others in the release notes. So that's it. So for us, with today's topic, let's start. Like, what's new in Winter 23 for Salesforce admins and Pardot admins as well. So my name is Prashant Vardhan. I'm a technical lead at Apistoki Consulting Services Private Limited, based out of Singapore. I'm a 13-time Salesforce certified consultant, MuleSoft certified, community group leader, trailhead mentor. I'm also, technology enthusiast. I try to learn other technologies as well, like Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud. So you can find me on Twitter with the tag at pvardhanp or LinkedIn. And just type out my entire full name and you get the my LinkedIn. So feel free to connect with me. Post any questions you have after the session. Feel free to reach out to me as well. So the main agenda for today's session is introduction of what Winter 23 and then features for Salesforce admins. I'm going to cover 3 to 4 clouds, very important features that I personally felt after going through the release notes for Salesforce admins, and then I'll be covering what's new with Pardot Winter 23 for Pardot admins. Like you know, the group is Pardot, so we will have to cover what's new with Pardot as well in Winter 23. We have a quiz at the end of the session, so 4 lucky winners out of the entire people who are going to participate. The top 4 will be winning the certification voucher as well, and then we just wrap it up. Okay, so any questions I'll be taking at the end as well. So for the first thing, like, let's try to cover what's new for Salesforce admins. Okay, so what are the general new features that are being released in this particular release? Okay, so first thing is multi-factor authentication is going to be auto-enabled. Till the last release, we were forced to enable multi-factor authentication, but from now on, every instance will have a multi-factor authentication auto enabled. So it's going to be mandatory, given we used to have it mandatory for Marketing Cloud earlier. So Marketing Cloud, it was very much mandatory for um, to have multi-factor authentication. Now on, even every Salesforce instance is going to have a multi-factor authentication, very much required. So you need to set up MFA for every instance that you're using, be it a developer org, be it a sandbox, be it a production. So Salesforce is going to make it auto enabled for every instance with Winter 23. So this will be, I think, in the September 2023 time frame. That means, probably it should have been happening last month itself, but given release is happening, so make sure you're ready with that. Probably you can install Salesforce Authenticator or probably Microsoft Authenticator. Like, there are bunch of authenticator apps, right? So you have the flexibility to use any kind of authenticator app. So make sure you keep it ready. Okay, so uh, second thing is custom address field. So till date, we do not have a data type for address. So we used to only use only the standard fields prior, like which were available on account and contact. But going forward, we are going to have custom address data type as well in every object. Okay, so previously we used not to have this, and there was an idea which was very popular. There were number of votes for that, and then Salesforce finally started releasing this in this particular release. So you're going to have custom address fields. You will be able to create custom address fields, and then you'll be able to store that data in the custom address fields as well. The next thing that I am going to cover over here is chain sets. This is specifically for admins and release managers who are going to deploy or deploy the metadata from one instance to other, from basically from sandbox to production. Just in case you're still using chain sets and you're not using some other tools like AutoRabbit, Copado, or probably Ant migration tool or SFDX. Okay, and you're still using chain sets, then this is for you. So for now, till date, there is no proper way to deploy a community site or digital experience site or experience cloud site. Okay, so what we need to do is, what we used to do is, we basically used to deploy a network first, or combine network, site.com, and all these in a one single chain set. We used to add them individually to deploy, but with Winter 23, we are going to have two separate things. One is digital experience for LWR sites, basically for theme layouts and all. And the second thing is, we are going to have experience bundle section on the chain sets, which you have the flexibility to associate, deploy the entire digital experience site in a one go, rather than deploying network, site.com, or any other stuff that you're trying to deploy. Okay, so that's very much interesting feature, and this has been enhanced for LWR sites as well. So you have the flexibility to utilize this for LWR sites. So if somebody doesn't know what is an LWR site, so it's a lightning web runtime, so that's going to be very much famous going forward. So there are a couple of, not couple, I think there are 4 to 5 videos regarding LWR sites, how you can build LWR sites, like, so in the YouTube by Salesforce itself. So make sure, like, if you still are not aware of what LWR site is, I would definitely strongly suggest you to, go through those videos to understand what LWR site is. So in these particular sites, to give a brief overview, you will not be able to utilize any Aura components. You will have to utilize only LWC components, and these are also, like, there are no specific themes for this. You're going to get a blank template to start building your own LWR site. There are specific hands-on as well. So if anybody are interested in LWR sites, feel free to, go learn those LWR sites. I think this is the last one for general audience. This is something, very much interesting and very much required as well, given for large organizations and very large sales teams as well. Something we are going to have, uh, uh, you know, uh, utility bar item. Okay, so this utility bar item, if somebody doesn't know what is a utility bar item, that's something you will be able to see in a console navigation itself. Okay, so if you're going to have a sales console or service console apps, so down there, you should be able to find omni-channel history, notes, apps, right? So similarly, uh, you're going to have something called as to-do list, where you have the flexibility to see all the tasks, or probably what are all the events or activities that you need to complete, or you need to do it right away, or probably in future. So you're going to have this to-do utility item in your utility bar, and you will be able to utilize that with Winter 23. I personally feel like, this is very much useful, because you have the flexibility to add more into that particular utility bar. The one you're seeing, all, start, due today, right? Different kind of filters that you can apply to filter out all your activities over here. Okay, so this is a very much, very very interesting feature that I personally felt for sales teams and service teams as well. And then let's move on to the Sales Cloud. So, what are all the features that you're going to have in Sales Cloud? So I didn't feel any important features apart from what I'm going to cover over here. So there were features on Einstein next best action, Einstein, scoring. Scoring has been, the time frame has been changed for Einstein scoring, which was for lead scoring and opportunity scoring, which I didn't feel it very much useful. Previously, it used to be every week, I guess. The scoring used to run, and score the leads, adjust the score of the leads and opportunities as well. But now I feel it has been changed to monthly run. So to utilize the systems in the back end to make sure that most of the users that they're using have got that space, right? Because we are running in a shared data model. So that might be the reason, they have changed the uh, time frame for Einstein scoring as well. So only important thing that I felt in sales was, forecast. So if somebody who doesn't know what forecast is, so Salesforce has got this forecasting inside Sales Cloud specifically. And there are specific permissions as well that is required to run this forecast. So which will help the sales team to analyze, or to give them targets as well, and what's the targeted amount that they have to close deals worth with, and then whether they have reached that specific deals or not, that target or not. And they have the flexibility to change those targets as well, to increase the targets as well, or to decrease the targets as well for quarters or half yearly or probably yearly targets as well. So if you doesn't know that, there is a very good trail mix as well on forecast, so you can try go and build it. So previously we used to have only standard fields related to opportunity, so we do not used to have the flexibility to add custom fields in the forecasting. Okay, but now with this specific release, we have the flexibility to include specific custom fields as filters as well. Like one is number data type, currency data type, pick list field data type, to filter out the forecasting data that you're going to get to understand what is the forecast for that specific quarter or not. Okay, so that's something that you're going to get, and this is going to apply for every instance. This is not a specific instance like you need to have a enterprise instance or unlimited instance. No, this is going to be for all instances. So that this is how it's going to look like. So you have the flexibility to add optional filters, and this filter is going to contain the custom fields as well. Okay, so you have the flexibility to choose field, put whether what the operator is, and then apply the value, and you can apply multiple conditions as such and complete the forecast that you're trying to build for your sales team as well. And said so I didn't feel much important things inside sales cloud. There were things like Einstein expects action and all, as I was mentioning earlier, but I didn't feel very much interested on the releases. Most of them were either improving the existing features or probably enhancing the stuff itself. So they were not uh, there were not good features that people were trying to utilize in the sales cloud. So that's why, like, I've just covered one thing in the sales cloud. The next thing is about flows. There were very good enhancements in flows right now. So given that workflows and process builders are expired, and you will not be able to create any new workflow starting Winter 23 releases. And given that it's already live in some subset of the sandboxes, you should be observing that as well, that you will not be able to create any new workflow. Okay, so given that it's in place, people are the dev team in Salesforce is trying to enhance and provide more features to make sure people utilize the flows. Okay, first thing is, if you are not aware of MuleSoft Composer, we do have covered a session about MuleSoft Composer previously as well. So you can see in our channel's recording. So you can find that. So what MuleSoft Composer is, it's just that you have the flexibility to integrate multiple systems with Salesforce without writing any code. So it's basically it's kind of a drag and drop model. All you have to know is what step you will need to perform, and then you can just build a flow diagram kind of structure, and you can connect multiple systems. Given MuleSoft Composer is getting more and more updates, very recently I've seen a lot of new systems also getting added over there, like new external systems getting added. So MuleSoft Composer is going to play a major role, and now it has been renamed to Flow Integration. Okay, so going forward, there is no MuleSoft Composer. So MuleSoft Composer is being renamed as Flow Integration, and given that it's being enhanced a lot, and you're going to get a lot of new features in Flow Integration. So I would suggest learn Flow Integration as well. It's very, very quite simple. All you have to know is some basic idea of what activity that you would like to do, and you will be acting like a developer, like if there is a tool called Flow Integration in your company's instance, right? So major upgrade over here. Like, it's just a name though, but if people are going to refer it as Flow Integration in future, do not get confused what that is. Okay, so next thing is cut and paste. So this is one such wonderful feature coming out in flows. Okay, so this might look like odd if I'm speaking that it's a wonderful feature, but person like me who's working a lot on flows very lately, and if utilizing, I used to love freeform, but given that by default the layout is right now auto layout, I have struggled a lot, to connect different elements. So if there is a specific element that I'm adding, I had this thing of what I need to do if I have to move that element, like an update element, to a different branch, right? So I used to struggle a lot. I used to copy that first, paste it in the new branch, rename the API name, and then delete the first branch element. But now no more. You have the flexibility of cut and paste. Okay, all you have to do is select the element in the auto layout and then cut it, and then all you have to do is paste wherever you would like to paste it. Okay, so this is specifically for auto layout, because if it's not an auto layout and you are in a free form layout, you have the flexibility to just delete the branch and restructure it wherever you would like to do that. But given in the auto layout, you do not have that flexibility of deleting the branch, the connecting branch in between. All you have to do is copy, paste, delete, rename. But now you do not need to do that. Like, all you have to do is cut, paste. So that's a relief whoever are trying to utilize for auto layout, who are in the auto layout, who learned on auto layout. So although I'm not a big fan for auto layouts. The next thing is clone function. So Salesforce in the last release has released a tool to migrate all your workflows and process builders. Okay, and I did utilize that, trying to convert a workflow, or probably try to convert a process builder into a flow. It did seem odd because couple of functions were not couple, like there are some functions which were not supporting in flow, given flow doesn't have those functions that which process builder did support. Functions in the sense there was like ease clone is one such function which was available in workflow and process builder. You used to have that, whether to see whether a specific record is being cloned by using the clone button on the record, right? So we have a clone button on the record, and Salesforce has got that intelligence capability to detect whether it's a cloned record or not. And given workflow and process builder used to have that, and while we were migrating a couple of workflows and process builders to flows, we had this problem that a couple of functions were not supporting the flows. So Salesforce did take a note of that as well. So I that's very great that Salesforce did find out that it's very much required, and we do have something enhancement for that as well. So we are going to have clone function inside flows as well. So when you're trying to convert a workflow that contains a clone function, feel free, you're going to have that in flow as well. But when you do that, after you do that, so instead of putting as account.x, because like you can say account.address field or account.billing address or account.type, right? So if you're going to utilize those fields in process builder and workflow, you do not have a dollar record variable, but instead you used to have the respective object on which the workflow has been built. But not anymore. So that's still not supported. So you will have to make sure that you rename object names to those respective dollar record variables. Okay, otherwise that's not going to work. Okay, so make sure when you migrate workflow or a process builder with ease clone functionality, make sure that you put that dollar record in place instead of the object names. Okay, so this is specifically for record triggered flows. So that's a thought that Salesforce thought to implement it, given workflows have expired. uh, the other thing that I personally felt was very much interesting over here in flows was updating related records. This was not at all present since flows has been born, I would say, probably 3 to 4 years back. From then onwards, people were trying to utilize this in a different way. So what we used to do is, basically we used to fetch the records using get element, get records, match the respective dollar record.id as a lookup field, and then we used to fetch all those records, iterate, use a loop to iterate, okay, and then update the records one by one. But not anymore. Okay, if you want to update a specific field of the related records. For example, you would like to update the contacts, probably say some tool, some, or probably opportunities close date. So you have 10 opportunities for an account, and you would like to update the close date to probably October 31st 30, right? So, or October 31st, right? So in that specific scenario, now with this specific release, you're going to have that functionality. If a flow is running on an update process on an account, you have the flexibility to update the related records as well. Okay, so you can see like we have that flexibility update related to the account record, because this is running on account, so that's why it's saying as account. But whatever the object it is going to run, you have the flexibility to update the related records onto the account. Okay, so that's a wonderful feature that's coming up. Okay, I love this particular feature. So next thing is service. So this time as well, like service doesn't have good features. So it's just that very very minute features that Salesforce is trying to enhance in service as well, like implementing what do you say, in knowledge there were very pretty small features like adding favorite. Okay, so you have the now the flexibility to favorite your articles as well, like mark a set of articles as favorite. And previously when you mark it as well, like it used to tag it to that specific version. And if a new version is being created for that, you used to not have that flexibility to automatically favorite the new version as well. Okay, but these kind of pretty small enhancements are in place for service as well. But there are a couple of things which I personally felt were important. So first thing is in the messaging channels, so be it Facebook Messenger, or be it WhatsApp, or be it a live chat as well. Now you have the flexibility to directly interact emojis as well. You have like the button, like how you can transfer, or probably how you can link, or probably how you can flag, right? So similarly, you're now going to have a button for emoji as well, where you can directly put any kind of smiley. So this gives the more flexibility of having what do you say, good interaction between the customers and service agents, friendly interactions, I would say. So previously, we suggested clients to have those handy in a notepad, or so copy those and then paste it over here, like a colon and a bracket to put a smiley, happy smiley and all. But now not anymore. You have the flexibility to directly interact both from the agent perspective as well, and from the customer perspective as well. So you have both the things over here. So you have the flexibility to put that and then utilize that, so that instead of keeping the conversation more and more professional, now you have the flexibility to enhance the conversation in a friendly manner as well. Okay, so that's one thing. The second most important thing that I felt very much important in Sales Service Cloud specifically is uh, Einstein Search for knowledge. Okay, so till now, we do not have that flexibility of doing that, but not anymore. You have that flexibility now. So in a Einstein search, given that it's generally available for every instance, irrespective of what that instance is. So if you do not have enabled that Einstein search yet, feel free to enable that. It's of no charge. You can enable Einstein search. And given that it's going to support Salesforce knowledge as well. So that's a good thing. So apart from that, there was one other feature that I specifically felt good, but I didn't involve here because I tried replicating in a trial instance of Winter 23 instance. But so for some reason, I was not able to get that feature activated. That's why I did not include. So since I was not confident about that. So there was something called as copying the knowledge article. So while interacting with either during a live agent or probably working on a case, service agents now have got the capability to directly copy the description of a knowledge article uh, uh, with just a button. So when you're going to search a knowledge article, so Salesforce is going to provide that flexibility to copy a knowledge article with just a button. It's not going to completely copy it, like title, subject, and description, but it's going to copy as a part of a description that's going to match with the terminology. Okay, so we are going to get that button. I didn't add because I was not able to try that out in my preview instance, so that's why I didn't add it up over here. But that's available in the release notes. I'm not sure whether that would come down uh, permanently in the release or not. Okay, but yeah, since it's in the release notes, I feel it's going to come. But if you have any preview, or feel free to try that in the from the release notes. um, the last thing for Salesforce admins that I would like to cover is basically the field service part. Okay, so lately I've been working on a couple of field service projects, and I there were few instances where customers were asking few things about which I'm going to cover. So those are coming now for winter 23 release, which I personally felt, yeah, it's a good thing that Salesforce is hearing the customers to implement such things. Okay, so first thing is, so there is something called as optimization hub. I don't know if most of the people who have implemented field service know about this particular feature available inside field service. But if you still, if you are somebody who have implemented, or if you are somebody who doesn't know that this exists inside field service, then this is for you guys. So optimization hub is going to have some pretty good dashboard now. So it's going to tell how well the work orders are being optimized, how well the service resources are being optimized. So this is one good feature I personally felt. And you can add it on the work order lightning record page, given that it's going to support, sorry, you can add it on the service appointment page, given that it's going to help you to understand what's the best optimization for that particular service appointment. Okay, so you can see I took a screenshot as well. You can see how well it's going to be utilized. Basically how many service appointments have been optimized, whether they are following policy or whether they are following, how well it's being scheduled as well. So how well the resources are being utilized as well. So you're going to get all these kind of insights with the new optimization hub feature. Okay, so now that you can project it as a new feature for your customers if you're going to if they're going to ask you for that. Okay, so this is a good thing. This is a good thing because optimization is going to help basically the customers or field service automatically schedule a lot of things, okay, which I'm going to cover in the next thing. So the other thing with the optimization is with enhanced scheduling and optimization, you're going to have a complex projects automatically scheduled as well, given that if there are multiple projects that you're going to schedule for now, currently you're not going to have this kind of or make sure that service resource doesn't start the second appointment before the first appointment is completed. Okay, now what it's like, they have the flexibility to automatically start the second appointment before closing the first appointment, given they are scheduled one by one. But with this particular feature, we have the flexibility to say, hey, what's the first appointment, what's the second appointment, is there any dependency between each, right? So you have that flexibility, you can create that dependency and make sure that field agent doesn't start the second appointment before he completes the first appointment. Okay, so it doesn't like work only with the parent and child appointments, but it can also be linked as connected appointments, like you have like multiple appointments and in a day, and you have the flexibility to do that as well. So you have that flexibility to do that as well. Okay, so we are having scheduling dependencies now with enhanced optimization feature in field service. The other stuff that very recently one of my client also asked was why there was not a auto work order generation. Okay, so now that we have a recurring work order, auto work order generation, okay, so you need to do a scheduling for that, or or you need to specify how many work orders that needs to be there, like what is the tenure between each work order. And now you're going to have this recurring work orders, so you have that flexibility to automatically uh, system will automatically create a recurring work order once the primary work order is completed. So for example, so I have a customer, So they have subscribed for a service, so probably a AC service every 6 months, right? So currently what it is, I have to first create every 6 months related work orders, or probably I will have to create a flow or write some custom trigger to create those things. But now no more. Salesforce is going to have this feature inside field service. So you will just need to say what is the recurrence cadence, and automatically once the first parent work order is completed, it will create a recurring work order with the time frame. But do note, it will start the recurring work order once the end date of the parent work order is logged. So for example, I have I have a customer who have asked for a work order to be performed, like a service to be performed on probably 10th of October. All right. So now once on 10th this particular work order is completed, automatically after 6 months down the line, probably November, December, Jan, March, April 6th or April 10th is going to be the next work order that's automatically getting created. Okay, so that schedule is going to come up. So it's a very good feature. I personally feel that's going to avoid a lot of customization on field service part. Okay, so that's it. I personally felt, but there are a couple of other stuff as well for Einstein and CPQ, which I didn't feel those were some things that needs to be covered. I personally felt that's my personal experience, or personal opinion about that. But if you still want to read, you have the flexibility to go read that release notes. A very very lengthy release notes. You can cover that. So developers I didn't cover. So one thing was for developers, if there are any, I felt happy was LWC are now supporting flows. Sorry, flows are now supporting LWC. So you can call a flow directly in LWC now. You do not need to call specifically in Aura and call that Aura in LWC. You have that flexibility to do that. Okay. Apart from that, there are very good features as well in development. GraphQL API, which has been released in Dreamforce as well. So probably you can take a look at that as well. Okay. So in the release notes, that's I'm not going to cover for developers today. So next thing, what is for the group of marketers, right? For Pardot, especially for Pardot, I am not going to cover Marketing Cloud today, because Marketing Cloud has got very good features. So probably in my next session I might try to cover for Marketing Cloud, but for Pardot especially I'm going to cover today. So there are a couple of new features being added and a couple of enhancements also that I would like to cover. First thing, make sure you remember that Pardot Classic App is being retired. Okay, so if you are in shock or awe, this has been already alerted for the past 3 releases. So make sure that you're upgraded to the Lightning version of the app to continue to work on the Pardot. Okay, so first thing is with external actions. Okay, so now you have the flexibility to extensibility of enhancements of automating tasks. Okay, so for example, you're going to have a webinar outside, so probably a Zoom webinar or go to webinar kind of stuff, and someone filled out the webinar form, they are registered, and you get the data into the Pardot. Now you have the flexibility to send them an SMS text as well. With external actions in place, you have that flexibility to do that now. Okay, so either through engagement journey you can do that. Okay, so you have that flexibility. So but for that, right, so you will have to create something inside Salesforce. So you will have to utilize called as marketing app extension. So there will be an object coming up called marketing app extension, and you have to create that action type inside the marketing app extension for that related record, so that whenever there is a external activity being performed, this particular action type will start trigger to that customer. Okay, so this is something coming up. So guys, if you know what is Pardot and you have been working and you do not know what are external activities inside Pardot, so this is a very good feature that has been released in probably spring, I guess. So external activities is something that till date we do not have this in picture. So only we used to have page actions kind of stuff, but with external activities, what are all the activity that you're going to perform on an external website? Based on that, you have the flexibility to perform a related or supported activity through Pardot. Okay, so that's an external activity. So the other thing is very important thing to take a note if you're a Pardot admin. Okay, so opt out field needs to be synchronized with Salesforce. Okay, so this is a new feature. Till date, there is nothing as such feature that you have the flexibility to go and alter the sync behavior of opt out functionality, but not anymore. From now on, you have that feature. Okay, if someone is opting out, so previously what used to happen is, so we have a field called on Sales Cloud as well for on account and lead called opt out, and even on Pardot we have an opt out. Okay, so if someone is opting out from Sales Cloud emails, right? So automatically, even if that record is present inside Pardot, the respective record inside Pardot is also being opted out. So making sure that the prospect is not going to get any emails, right? But not anymore. So people used to face a lot of issues. Customers used to face a problem because it's not so easy to remove that flag on Sales Cloud. It's a hell of a task for the sales admin as well, Sales Cloud admin as well, to remove that flag on the opted out field. But not anymore. Now we are going to make sure that you have the flexibility to sync, to alter the sync behavior of opt-out field inside Pardot. So you can see that. So whether you would like to choose it between Salesforce value or Pardot value, only there are only two options. But make sure you do it before the release comes into the picture, or otherwise release is going to automatically mark it as, I think it's going to mark it as Pardot's field by default. Okay, so just in case you're going to have a second thought of keeping it as Salesforce field, have the flexibility. You can do that later as well, but yeah, you have now the flexibility to do that once the release up happens. Okay, so the third thing is prospects now. Pardot has got the capability to auto detect bot-like activity between prospects. For the prospects, identify whether that particular prospect activity is a bot kind of activity or not, and restrict that activity to be sent into the Pardot. Okay, so the account engagement can pause activity. I'm sorry, I'm using Pardot a lot, but it's now account engagement. So account engagement has got that flexibility now, so it has got that intelligence to automatically know whether it's a bot activity or not. So based on that, it's going to pause that activity for tracking the prospects. Okay, so that feature is going to come up, and you have the flexibility to review and then associate whether it's a bot activity or a person activity. So form security features are now very much mandatory. So since the last release, go.pardot.com, the default domain that Pardot was providing, has to be moved to a new custom tracker domain for the customers, and it has been made mandatory. So form security, given that form security enhancements, it's now very much mandatory to change the default domain to the custom domain. Okay, so make sure if you're not have not changed yet, make sure all your forms are updated with the custom domain. Okay, because it's now going to be mandatory, so it might stop working if you're not going to do that. Okay, so other thing, very much, very important thing, which has been a hell of a task for the customers previously, and even for implementation partners as well, while they are implementing Pardot, because we used to provide assignments, like multiple permission set assignments. First one was Pardot, second one was either Sales Cloud, CS Service Cloud, or what do you say, CRM user permission set, right? So now not anymore. So you're going to have an account engagement dedicated permission set, so which you can utilize, and not that this has to be only be given to Salesforce licensed users. So because previously identity users, which Pardot was to which Pardot was provided, right? So they used to not have Pardot Lightning app access, but not anymore, they are going to get access to Pardot Lightning app. This is a very important feature now. So identity users is also now going to get Pardot Lightning app access. All they have to have is account engagement user permission set. Okay, but it is not going to include full access to campaigns in Salesforce. Make sure you note that down. But instead of that, they're going to have access to the Pardot Lightning app with Pardot report, Pardot emails, in the Lightning version of Pardot. Okay, so the other important thing is synchronizing all prospects with just one click. So till date, we do not have this functionality. So if I just want to sync all prospects in my instance, I have to reach out to Pardot support, create a ticket, and ask them to do that. And there is a hell of a task. So they used to ask us to clear sync errors and all that kind of stuff. But not anymore. So if your business unit has got less than or equal to 500,000 prospects or 5 lakh prospects in Indian terms, you can do a you can trigger a full sync every 7 days. You have that flexibility. Again, like for customers having mailable prospects greater than 500,000 or 5 lakh, you have to create a ticket with Pardot support. So the last thing, account engagement APIs. So we are having good changes now. So now lifecycle history is available. Okay, so you can check what is the prospect sales journey and current stage as well with API. Okay, so this object is now being available for Pardot API. Second thing is account. So for the account object, right? So that is available now. We are going to have even business unit support, so you have the flexibility to fetch the business unit for accounts as well. And then that's just going to be limited as read and query. There is no edit. So the other thing is prospect email and FID query. Okay, so you have that flexibility to query on the basis of FID as well, and CRM FID. So you can just read and query. There is no edit option again over here. You cannot manipulate the data. Okay, so that's the one thing on API part. That's it. I will just stop over here and see like if there are any questions before we proceed uh, to the quiz. Any questions? Yes, it does.